What's up guys, this is Chris from Honest Outlaw here, and today we've got something new for you. We are looking at an innovative little carry pistol. This is the Smith & Wesson CSX. Now this thing is a nice little amalgamation of a few different guns that I like a lot. And it's got a bunch of features on it that I think are pretty interesting because they're a little bit, not necessarily innovative, but they're taken from older designs and put on a more modern twist. So the biggest thing in firearms for the last few years, of course, is the double stack Micro 9. The ability to get a magazine that has the same capacity as a single stack in a double stack, but have it be in the same size and weight profile of a gun that you used to only be able to get in single stack. This gun is 3 inches, the barrel length is 3 inches, the overall length about 6 inches, and it has a magazine capacity of 10+1 or 12+1 with an overall weight of only 19 ounces. That's pretty impressive for a double stack subcompact Micro 9, but it's even more impressive when you realize that this has an all aluminum frame. As you can see here, it has the aluminum frame. All the spots that don't have checkering on it are an aluminum frame. And then these are actually the polymer grip inserts that remind you a lot of the M&P series, because this really is sort of a shield with 1911 or 2011 controls. So we have the included back straps or grip inserts there to change the overall grip size, if you like. And then in front here, we have another appears to be polymer insert here that appears to be a little bit of a failure point, because the first time I ever saw this gun, I saw it on Nothing Fancy's channel, and his actually fell out of there. So I hope that doesn't happen to mine, because so far I really like how this gun feels. But where it steps away from the shield, aside from the aluminum grip, is the fact that it has a single action design. So as you can see here, it has a manual safety on either side, ambi safety, and then it is single action. So with the safety depressed, you can then pull the trigger, but the gun does not operate without the hammer back. So you have the hammer back, safety up, cocked and locked. The same battery of arms that you would carry a 1911 or a 2011 in, which I think is actually kind of cool, because it allows you, in theory, a much better trigger. However, this one has a very heavy trigger for a single action, which I think makes a little bit of sense, considering everyone who's going to be using this gun is going to be using it for concealed carry. So a heavier trigger, especially when it's pointed at your junk, does make you feel a little bit better. So I'm okay with that, as long as it shoots really well. And the reason why I'm okay with it is because trigger weight isn't the only category that makes trigger good. Single action triggers also almost always have very, very light and short resets, and in which case this one does. So I'm thinking this one is going to be a little speed demon by comparison to some of the other compact pistols in its class, but we can only find that out by shooting it. So we have a manual safety, we've got a single action cocked and locked design, but on top of that, where it separates from 2011s, aside from the overall size and weight, is that you can actually rack the slide with the manual safety engage, which is very cool. So if you carry a lot and you're at home and you don't want to disengage the manual safety to eject the round, just simply eject it without depressing the manual safety. So you still can't pull the trigger, but you can run the round out of there, or you could press check and see if it's safe and then bump it forward. That gives you a lot of advantages over a standard 2011 design, which I do really appreciate. We have front slide serrations up here, which are very usable. The gun looks very cool. The trigger guard's just big enough, even for gloved hands. I got pretty big hands, and it looks usable to me. The slide release works well. We got a little bit of notch here in the rear of the rear sight here, if you want to run it off your belt, which is important, especially for those of you who carry with one outside the chamber. I don't recommend that, but if you carry with an empty chamber, definitely have something to rack the slide on in case you need to use your firearm with only one hand. We have serrated white 3-dot sights, which are pretty classic Smith & Wesson. And overall here, we have a pretty nice little build quality for the price that this gun is. Now, the MSRP on this little bad boy is around 600 bucks. However, you can find it for a lot less than that. I think I paid around $520 for mine. And I did pay for it as well. Thank you, patron supporters. I didn't get this sent to me from Smith & Wesson like many of other reviewers. Nothing against that, I just didn't. And I paid for this with the patron dollars, so I appreciate that. If you want to help out the channel, that's the best way to do it. All you gotta do is go to the link in the description, sign up. Also, in that link's a local shelter in Ames, Iowa. It's the YSS, the youth shelter. Those kids could really use your help. So if you want to do some good in the world, just go down there and click that link and donate. Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this gun out, we're gonna shoot 50, 100 rounds through it with varying types of ammunition. Right now we have 115 grain and 147 grain. We're gonna start out with the remanufactured ammo because it's cheap and the ammo crunch is real. And if that doesn't work, we'll switch to my regular Fiocchi and my regular Federal. We'll probably run a little bit of that anyway, and then we'll run a little bit of carry ammo through this and see if it functions. Give you my first opinions over the first 100 rounds, and then we'll take it and we'll do several range trips, and in the future, a couple months down the road, we'll give you a 1,000 round review. Well, let's go shoot it. All right, so it's beautiful today, but it's very, very white. I don't know if you see down there, the targets are still white. Can they even see the targets? Because I can barely see the damn target.
I mean, you can kind of see the stands.
The good news is my sights are white too. What the shit? We have a failure. What the fuck's going on with that trigger? It doesn't want to reset. I like to reset the gun. Let me put it on safety. I like to reset the gun with my pressure still on my trigger, right? So when I release and reset, that's one of the ways I shoot kind of fast, is I'll pull the trigger, or I'll release pressure on the trigger, but keep my face of my finger on the trigger all the time, and I just go like this. Whereas this pistol, for some reason, I can't get it to reset without completely releasing pressure from the trigger. I don't know if it's that trigger dingus or what, or maybe the reset's just a little longer than I expect.
Is that the actual term, dingus?
It's really not. Tim from the Military Arms channel says it all the time, and I think everybody says it because he does.
It's funny.
See, I just did it again. I'm just gonna have to get used to that trigger is all. It's very accurate, obviously, because I'm having no issues here. The trigger does not feel as heavy in actual practice with a loaded magazine, and so it's a little deceiving. Yeah, I did it again. Trigger freeze. What the fuck is going on? I'm gonna have to look at this on the footage, because I can't tell what I'm doing wrong. Sorry, I was just trying to get used to the trigger. Trying to get used to resetting it. It's hard because every gun's different. And
that's why we do these first shots, because, you know, if you just take it straight out and don't do any research, this is the kind of experience you're gonna have.
Well, what I try to do is I'm a fairly competent shooter. What I try to do is show people that there is a learning curve. That's what these first shots videos are about. Every tactical tomboy out there can put a bunch of epic music to 10-second clips, you know, when you see these gun reviews where they're like, dun, 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 boom, 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 boom. It's like, yeah, it's probably the 5th or 6th mag they shot that day, and it was like the best one they shot, so that's the only one they showed. But in reality, it takes a while to actually get used to a gun, especially smaller guns that like I said, the trigger, I don't know what the fuck is going on, but every time I try to reset it, I end up doing this. Because you can like reset it without resetting it, and then you have to push it in. And I feel like maybe it's getting caught or something.
That's
or
usually
maybe the interface with my glove, I can't tell. It's so cold, you know.
Well, I do that a lot. Where you know, sometimes.
Trigger freeze, yep, that's what it's called.
Yep. When I say like I'm messing up my cadence, it's because I'm not releasing it enough.
Yep.
To actually shoot it, so.
And I think that's me. I think it's all me. I don't think it's the gun.
Right.
Which is why I keep mentioning it.
Right.
Because I'm so used to 2011s going pop, 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 pop. But 2011s don't have a trigger safety. Right. So maybe I just have to get used to it, and I'm just gonna have to start doing some cadences of fire. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then get used to it. All right. Now we're at 50-ish somewhere. Couple things. The trigger is interesting, but not bad. The recoil and pulse is really good, and it seemed to function that remanufactured ammo really well. If it continues to do that, it'll be one of the only ones who does. So. All right, so that is what's going on. What I'm doing is when I reset the trigger, I can feel where it's supposed to reset, right? So let me do this over here, this direction, so you can see it. So when I pull the trigger, I go click, And then when I reset, I go like this and nothing happens. Why? Because I've reset the top of the trigger, but I have not released the trigger dingus, okay?
The old dingus.
The old dingus. See, it won't reset unless you completely let it out. Weird for sure. Weird and bullshitty in my opinion. Because to be honest with you, if you're gonna put a manual safety on the side, I don't need that bullshit. That's the only thing I don't like about the gun. Everything else about the gun so far is fucking awesome. Oh, now we had a malfunction. Then it didn't lock back. So we'll try some of the factory ammo now. See if that was it. It's probably it, honestly, because the remanufactured ammo I have from Freedom Munitions is legendarily terrible. I got some vicious slide bite right there.
Uh-oh.
When I choked up, see that? That's a real problem. Little guns. Yeah, I like how it shoots a lot. It's a good start. There's a few things I don't like about it, which I'll talk about here pretty soon, but it's a damn good start. Fucking trigger.
Not built for speed with the dingus issues, eh?
It is. It really is. It's my issues, the way I reset the trigger. The problem is I don't foresee myself retraining myself to this gun
for this one.
From all the other guns I shoot.
Right.
You know, that's the issue I have with awesome guns like the Steyr L9A2, is that it's not a trigger issue, but it's a grip angle issue. It's like one of those things that it's cool and it's weird and it's awesome if you don't shoot anything else.
Good point.
But I don't want to see you try this, because I don't think you're going to have the same problem. When you shoot, you lift your finger all the way off the trigger all the time, so I don't even think you're going to notice that.
We'll see.
That I want to show for people, because most people probably don't shoot like me.
That's true. All right. It is very, very cold. I hope I can do this. Nope, I did it too, apparently. Or I fucked it up.
What the hell? Let me look.
Oh, wasn't seated all the way.
Yeah, so Smith & Wesson puts those cheesy fucking spacers in their grip. Yeah, that thing. And
it
sometimes that causes
the
mag not to seat.
Well,
yep.
All right, let's try.
Oh, you did it too, huh? Or are you hitting the mag release?
I am not doing good with this.
Well, the good news is there's 20 targets down there, and none of them are scared of you.
Whew, I don't.
Yeah, you don't like that, huh?
I hate this.
Oh, you got one!
Yay.
If you're wondering, she's not exactly at bad breath distances. We are 35 yards away.
Man, this is not my cup of tea at
Well, you got one more mag.
all.
All right, now that we got done with the old snot check, it's a little chilly outside. We have, what, 7 mags through it on film?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we had to bail because it got a little chilly. But we got a good little bit of experience through it. Definitely gonna need a lot more before I give you my opinion on this gun. Some of the things I don't like about it very well could work themselves out in practice and training. We did have one hiccup. That, I'm not going to blame it, because I was worried about that. I saw that coming. The Freedom Munitions 115 grain, been trying to get rid of for years. I have some Phoenix ammo 115 grain remanufactured, which is almost as bad these days too. And I have like 10-20,000 rounds of this stuff, because that's what I use for practice, for competition. So for review guns, we try to use it every once in a while, and if it folds, we just immediately move to factory ammo, which is what we did. We moved to factory 124 grain Fiocchi, and then we ran some 147 grain new Phoenix ammo, and then some 147 Eli, and they all worked just fine, as I expected. The gun itself had some issues. First off, tell your thoughts, because you had a much worse experience than I did.
Well, I was just really cold, and I just could not get in groove with it.
It's weird, right? It's weirder than you'd think.
That spacer thing caused me to not seat it correctly the first time, which caused issues. I was having issues with the dingus thing as well.
The trigger safety is what it's really called.
Trigger safety.
But I love hearing you say dingus. That cracks me up.
Dingus. Should I do dingus ASMR? Anyways, I can honestly say I didn't jive with it, even after only one mag. But I also was further than I normally start at because of the amount of snow.
Yeah, 35 is a long way for a small pistol.
Yeah, and it's just a super small gun, and I didn't love my experience.
Yeah, I think what we have is a pretty decent gun that we had some winter-related issues with. However, the one thing that I will not excuse is that weird trigger. It's weird. With practice, I could feel myself getting better. So I know it's one of those things where you're gonna have Smith & Wesson guys who own this now, and it's, you know, their first carry gun, and they've shot a couple hundred rounds for it, and be like, this guy fucking sucks. But it's the reality is that I have tens of thousands of rounds on staccatos, Experiors, all varying types of 2011s, mostly Atlas Gun Works, and those are 2011 triggers without a dingus. So you do let off to reset and fire again. That's the absolute awesome part of a 2011. And I feel like this design gives you the negative portions of a single action without any of the positives. Am I wrong there? I like the grip. The grip feels great. The problem I have with the grip is that it's an aluminum grip with no texture on it at all. You know, and now we're running gloves, so I didn't notice that too much, but there's nothing here. And the only texture on the gun is the inserts from the polymer. So that's kind of silly to me because it's an aluminum frame gun with less texture than the polymer series of Smith & Wesson. You know, if you get a shield, all this is coated in texture. I like that. The blended mag release was pretty decent, but with the single action gun, what do you want? You want a manual safety that's pronounced and works well. This one is tucked way up against the gun because that's what they do for carry guns. And I do appreciate that for carry. But the reality is this would be extremely hard to use in actual function, especially with gloves. But what you want in a single action trigger is you want something very short, very light, and easy to pull because that's the advantage. You have a manual safety, which is normally a detriment, right? But you have that to cover yourself against a very light trigger that has a very short reset. So you get a marksman style pistol with the added battery of arms of releasing the safety. But in order to do that correctly, you need to have a pretty decent safety that's pretty sturdy and pretty tactile, like let's say a Wilson Combat or a Staccato. Whereas this, it kind of feels like one of those guns where it was an addition, but on a single stack gun, a manual safety should not be an addition. It should be a part of the battery of arms. And then you do get the nice trigger, but you don't get the fast reset, which is the other thing you get with a single action gun. But this felt like it was slower in action than a lot of guns I shoot. Now that being said, I don't have a lot of rounds with it either. So what you're getting is my first impressions. They may very well change when we shoot on a warmer day with no gloves and like a lot of trigger time on the gun, right? Because it has a lot of things I really like about it as well. That's why I think it's a good start. I think if it were me and I designed this gun, I would give it a larger manual safety that was more tactile, more positive, took more pressure to click on and off. I would remove the trigger safety completely. Fuck that trigger safety. I would take this little polymer insert that I saw failed on Nothing Fancies, and I get that the hell out of there, and I would then cover all of the aluminum grip with 25 lines per inch checkering, or at least some sort of checkering of some type. And then you'd have a pretty bomb-ass, fantastic little carry pistol. I would also make it optics ready out of the box, but hey, what do I know? Overall, I think it's good, but it's not great, and I wish it was better. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Please help out your local homeless shelters, and remember to recycle. I'll check you later.